Hello and welcome back to Your Golden Path. This is episode 2. In this episode, I want to share some ideas that we inherit from Western philosophy. And those philosophical traditions go back at least 2,000 years ago. The philosopher Plato, who's been so influential in the way people think about themselves, was writing about 500 years BCE. So there's a lot of kudos and reputation involved when we look at those ideas. So what was Plato's fundamental idea that he's passed down to us through the years? It doesn't just occur in Plato, as I will mention later. But the fundamental idea is that in being born, incarnating as a material human being, we forget something. We lose the memory of being in Elysium, as the Greeks would call it, what the Christians might call heaven. The English Romantic poet William Wordsworth said that we come into this life trailing clouds of glory from heaven, which is our home. And many people talk about wanting to go home, as though the place that we're living in now could never be regarded as home. And I think that's rather sad myself. So part of my work is perhaps to dispel some of that ingrained notion that where we are at right now in the material world is a disappointment of some kind. So what does Plato say? He says that before we were born, our soul makes a choice. Our soul teams up with a daimon, like a guardian angel. And this daimon is going to be a guardian and a protector, a guide for our coming life. At that point, we've been making decisions about what we're going to do. We've made a kind of divine contract, and that we'll come into this world, and with the help of this daimon, we will be able to fulfill that contract. Then Plato tells us in his story, The Myth of he tells us that all the souls, as they're coming down into their incarnation, they are descending from this higher realm. They pass through what he describes as the river of forgetfulness, the river Lethe. And the soul is impelled to drink from this river and forgets what the contract was. So that's not a very good start. There are some caveats in the story where Plato suggests that some souls may actually know that they shouldn't drink too much from the river. So that will help them remember some things, perhaps. Now, it seems to me that forgetting all those previous lives when you arrive is perhaps quite useful, because we could get really overwhelmed with information if we carried all of those memories with us. But we certainly would like to engage with understanding what the contract was before we were born that we decided on. That would be really helpful, wouldn't it? But Plato is also telling us that the daimon can guide us and perhaps remind us of that. So how do we get in touch with the daimon, the guardian angel? It's not a separate entity sitting up there saying, oh, by the way, Theolyn, here you are, here's a nugget, you can have this for now. It's not dishing out little bits of tidbits according to its own decisions. The information is there for you and you can access it through your meditation. This is why I emphasize meditation as a process for everyone who wants to reconnect with their inner angel and discover what the agreement was. So by meditating every day, 20 minutes every day, you will get in touch with that deeper realm of yourself where your angel is abiding as a perpetual, constant companion. Doesn't go away, doesn't just flitter here and there on its magical white feathery wings. No, it's present all the time. And as one other poet said, it's you or we and our estranged faces that miss the many splendid thing. Because we turn away, we turn our faces away out into the world all the time, and we very rarely, if ever, turn inward in order to meet the angel who is present for us. And another poet, William Wordsworth, he tells us that we come trailing clouds of glory, but he also says that when we look at the world as a child, we see the radiance in it, we see the shining divinity of the world. He calls it the splendour in the grass. And then in his poem where he remembers his childhood, he complains that as we grow up, we lose our connection with that visionary state, and the prison house begins to close in on us. The social world closes in on us. And that's why we forget our origin. We forget the divine glory that we shared before we arrived. We forget that the fact that the divine glory is still with us if we reconnect with it. And I love Wordsworth's poems, but I disagree with him when he says, we can never bring back the hour of splendour in the grass and glory in the flower. I think he's wrong. I most determinedly say he's wrong, because we can bring it back. And the way we bring it back is by meditation. Meditation is not just about de-stressing your life. It's also about energizing your life with a new vitality. But even more than that, it's about experiencing the radiance again within yourself. Because as you travel deeper and deeper into your own states of consciousness, you will find heaven there. Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is within you. That's where you look, within. And so regular meditation will reconnect you with the golden glory of heaven. And when you do that, you start to understand what your golden path is. You recall what you've forgotten because you passed through the river Lethe. It awakens who you are in your depth, in your true essence. And your soul is released, rather like the sleeping beauty in the fairy tale who is kissed by the prince. She wakes up. Well, I have to tell you, your soul is not asleep, but your soul is waiting for the kiss. Your soul is your beloved, and you can guide your way there through inner work, through inner mystical processes. you can guide your way through that layering, that labyrinthine layering of consciousness until you come to that clear, simple, divine state of being. So our Western philosophy tells us that we've lost something, that we're feeling that we're missing our home. But the home is here. It's here with us. We don't have to go home. We just have to turn our face in that direction, and the gates of heaven will open to us. Many blessings. I'll be back again with episode 3, where I'm going to be talking about the way astrology can help you discover that divine contract.